everyone, I'm Brittany Gilbert, and I'm a senior here in the Sustainability Program. And I know you've heard a lot about the negative things that hopefully will not happen to any of you while abroad, but I want to end on a more positive note to talk to you guys about responsible tourism, and to help you, I'll answer the question, how can I leave a positive impact on these generous host communities that are really taking their time to host you while you're abroad? And this question first came to me during my summer in Ghana, where I spent the summer. One of the excursions that I did was climbing Mount Afajado, which is the tallest mountain in Ghana. So we drove to the base of the mountain and hired a guide from the local village to take us up the path to the top of the mountain, where he told us all about the area and the top and all the vegetation surrounding it. And it was a really beautiful view. So a few weeks later, when another fellow American teachers came, she wanted to climb this mountain as well. So we did the same thing. We had a local guide take us to the top, but this time the top was very different. Just 3 weeks later, the top of the mountain was completely littered. And it really bothered me how different it was. So I asked them why this was the case. And our local tour guide said that when tourists come, they often will take a snack at the top and leave the trash there so they don't have to carry it while they're on their way down. I asked why it was so clean a few weeks before, and they said every couple weeks or so, some community members will come to the top of the mountain to clean it up. And I wondered, why did it make sense that the burden of tourists falls on the host community to clean up after them? So I looked into what it really means to be a responsible tourist. And I found that responsible tourism is defined as an obligation of tourists to engage in the complexity of the community while minimizing costs on the host community. And travel is really growing. It makes up 9% of global production, as well as 235 million jobs, and can really be an impactful tool for economic development. But what I'm encouraging all of you to do is to consider how can you give more than you get from your host. We all know during your abroad experience, you're going to be getting some great cultural experiences and knowledge about yourself and the world around you. But what I really encourage you to consider while you're abroad is how you can give back economically, culturally, and environmentally. So we all know what the ugly American tourist looks like. We're loud, asking for English translations, stopping traffic to take a picture at Abbey Road with British flag leggings on. But it really makes you stand out and not in a positive light. It targets you for petty crimes, and it also targets you with the social distance gap. The local people will not be as likely to connect with you if you're not as willing to engage in their local culture and really immerse yourself and learn about the different local traditions and do's and don'ts of their culture. Daniela Pappy of Peppy Tours advocates for a learning service model. She found that when she was in Cambodia, people would come in for 2 to 3 weeks at a time with the number one thought was to have service. And they would do small projects that people wouldn't keep up with after they left. And it left a very much of a Band-Aid effect. But what she advocates for is the learning service model, where you go in with the opportunity to learn and engage in the culture and really learn what they need before you can serve. And this goes to anyone that's studying abroad as well, to go in with the opportunity of openness, and that will help you avoid stereotypes as well as create more long-term relationships with the culture and with your host community. I also encourage the responsible traveler to think economically, and this is primarily with shopping locally. So for every $100 spent at a locally owned store, $45 will remain in the local economy, whereas only $13 would remain if you spent that at a big box retailer. And like I said before, tourism really can be a tool for economic development. And we've seen it in Zanzibar, where they started seeing tourism come, and some entrepreneurs got together to expand the tourism operations and make sure that it all stayed in-house locally. With this economic stimulation, they were able to reinvest in solar energy and to really encourage their community to develop more sustainably. This also can affect your cultural experience. Here I have pictured my friend Dennis and his local shop and the village that I stayed at in Ghana. And when I first got to Ghana, I would wait to go to the big city to a big store if I ever needed anything, knowing that I'd have a wide variety of selections. But then I finally got out of my comfort zone and decided to try Dennis's shop and support a local entrepreneur. And I really made a friend out of Dennis and would go there frequently, having many conversations with him. I also have pictured here Borough Market, which is just an example of one of the many amazing markets in London. And that's a great way to shop local and to really talk to the producers about why they're here and why they personally want it to be a representative at a local market. And you'll find some really interesting stories. And finally, the responsible traveler thinks about the environment. And this kind of seems funny because when you're traveling, it's inherently bad for the environment because you're bringing a lot of resources on a lot of places that are most vulnerable to climate change. But what tourism really does is it impacts the community thinking of their environment, and it places a greater intrinsic value on it so that they want to protect it to keep the tourism alive and to keep their jobs going. And so I'm not necessarily advocating for the classic ecotourism experience or camping in the woods, but really just taking into account reducing your waste and not using as much energy when possible, using public transportation, and looking for different eco-certifications to just help you with a more sustainable mindset, which is actually much more popular in many more cities abroad than it is here. And finally, when you go abroad, you're going to become part of the Notre Dame international community. And to give back to that, you should really be able to share your experiences and knowledge that you gain from your abroad time through the Notre Dame network. So what we've created is a Notre Dame travel guide, which has an opportunity for you to input different places that you've been, places that you've stayed, and it's essentially a trip advisor for Notre Dame students. So it's a really great place when you're looking for a hostel to stay in to look and see if a past Notre Dame student has stayed there. And really when you go somewhere to please contribute to it as well to keep the Notre Dame network alive while you're abroad. And I also have my blog on sustainable travel on there if you have any more questions to look at that as well. And thank you for your time, and here is Susan to talk about attendance.